Hey, what's happening everybody? Another new video. If you guys are new tuning into my channel, let me just briefly talk to you about what kind of content you're going to get from me. Well, it's really simple. This is just unscripted, mindless banter about exercise, what I'm really passionate about. So if you guys are able to pull a little bit of value from it, great. If you guys feel like you can debate with me a little bit in the comments, great. And if you guys don't like it, that's fine too. But from all the years of training, it's been 10 years now that I've been working with clients. It's been 10 years that I've been a competitive bodybuilder. It's just fun to talk about. I like to geek out about it. So there's guys out there just like myself. I hope that we can kind of like banter back and forth with this. I want to talk to you today about the idea of having a trainer, because that job is like so popular, right? Like everybody's a trainer. And kind of nowadays, when people ask me, what's my profession? I don't really like to use the term trainer. I don't like to be called a trainer because there's like no prerequisite for it, So that's not going to change. Like the prerequisite to become a trainer is very simplified, as opposed to like another profession such as any kind of physician or any kind of, chiropractor, any kind of therapist, anybody close to the modality of what we're doing, they have to have way more education than we have to. I mean, I didn't even have to go to college and get an undergrad degree to be a trainer. All I had to do was be a good test taker for these nationally accredited certifications like, ISSA and NASM. And the questions they don't even have anything to do with the actual job, which is just crazy to me. When I took my ACE certification, it was all basically PR questions. It had nothing to do with biomechanics or physics or biology or anatomy or, nothing to do with actually taking care of a client and their health. And that's what's just mind-blowing to me is when you take a client on, they come to you with a specific need, right? And your job is to be basically a health professional to them. You're taking all of their health, all their issues, everything they have going on internally and externally, and you're taking responsibility for that. To me, that's no different than a doctor. That's like a huge responsibility, a huge undertaking. So you should be really, really prepared. Like the prerequisite for this job should be much more than it is now. This is a serious deal. And just like that, to get hired as a trainer, like the prerequisite to be hired as a trainer in a facility, there's a lot of liability to that. So the fact that you can literally have no experience, no practical experience, it just kind of blows my mind, And I was there. I was that new trainer where it's like I didn't have any practical experience. I just wanted to start training. I just kind of dove in head first, and I've come to this point. I'm not saying it's not impossible for trainers to go through this evolution. It just kind of just blows my mind with how simplistic and archaic the whole training job is. So with all that being said, with me digressing through this whole thing, like I don't like the terminology of a trainer. I think there's a big difference between a trainer and a coach. And I want to give you guys a couple things just off the cuff that come to me about what you should be looking for to make a distinction between, am I getting a trainer who's just going to give me workouts, or am I getting a coach that has my best interests at heart? Now, these are people that you're going to have in person. The prerequisites, the criteria that I measure an online coach with is much different than what I'm going to measure a trainer in person with, because the trainer in person is able to take control of a lot more variables than the actual online coach. So that's a completely different topic for discussion. And if you guys want me to talk about that in another video, just tell me and I'd be glad to talk about that as well. We're talking about being an actual coach to somebody in person. So here's a couple things that I think that you guys could benefit from if you're looking to work with a coach, or if you're wondering, is this trainer good fit for me? Am I investing my money wisely? Is my health in good hands? These are some things you should think about. The first thing is, when you go and you meet with a coach, you should always have a consult, okay? And the consult isn't basically a hand-holding thing. It's the setting of these expectations. It's like, I want to listen to you. I want to hear what you have to say as a potential client, and I want to hear where you're at, and I psychologically want to know what's going on. And then it's my job as a professional to be honest with, like, this is what it's going to take. It's not going to be easy, okay? In my opinion, like, it shouldn't be sugarcoated. Now, there are some coaches out there that do a good job of, building up the human spirit and things like that. But in my opinion, the client has to be in a point of desperation where they know the honest truth that, like, this is going to be hard, okay? And these are the things that I'm going to demand from you. In that consultation, the whole idea of the question and answer should be very structured. Like, if you look at these really good businesses, these good training businesses, like Mark Cole's, for instance, first one that comes to my head, like their prerequisite for the actual sit-down consultation is very in-depth first. The client knows exactly what they're going to be getting before they actually sign up, right? Okay, so that's the first thing, is like the Q&A, the initial consult has to be there. If the first meeting you have with your trainer is like, let's work out, I don't see that being a good fit. I don't think that's a good idea, because you don't know anything of that person's history. You don't know anything with their training age. You don't know where they came from, what they're doing. You don't know, their past sports history. You know nothing about how good they're going to be on the floor. You don't know the expectations that they have for you. You haven't set the expectations for them. The list is endless. I mean, the consultation initially sets the tone for the whole experience for that client. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, when you come into your first session, okay, there should be a series of questions that your trainer or your coach should ask you that first session and every session beyond. Like, so when I'm with a client, I'm asking questions all the time. It's a nonstop talk of constant feedback about the sets, about how they're feeling. So when a client comes in, it's like, hey, how you doing? What was yesterday like? What did you eat? How did the diet go? Were you following my plan on that? Did you sleep well? How's your digestion? How you feeling today? Mentally, are you motivated? Are you sore? Those kind of things. All those questions are strategically put out there so that I can make manipulations on the fly to the plan, according to what he or she is saying to me. So if I have something planned out and the person says, yeah, Bryce, I only got 4 hours of sleep. I got a lot on my mind. I got a big meeting later, and I have this metabolic and lactic workout made out, and I know they're not going to get any performance out of this. I know that they can't handle any inflammation. I know they're under recovered. Like, I need to make a change on the fly. That's what a good coach is going to do. So that's number two, okay? The next one is, as far as the plan goes, remember, the difference between a trainer and the difference between a coach is when you go into a trainer, you're just going to get a workout. It's like, hey, Sally, here's your workout for the day. Let's go do this thing. I'm going to smash you. I'm going to make this as challenging as it possibly can be, like a CrossFit session, which is fine, but that's all you're going to get. So understand that's what you're going to get from that person. That's all they're good for. From a coach is they're going to try to manage all aspects of your life. They're going to try to help you with stress. They're going to try to help you with you dietarily. They're going to try to make mindful supplemental suggestions. They're going to try to help you balance stress with everything else going on in your life with those other variables they set up. They're going to actually give you a training program to conduct with them, okay, and outside of that. So all my clients are required to not only train with me, they may only be able to train with me once or twice a week, but they're required to train on their own, okay? If you have these massive goals to transform your physique and your mind and your spirit and things like that, you can't just be held accountable 2 days a week with your trainer. Like, you have to have an accountability outside of that, and the coach should be doing that. So that's the big difference between a trainer and a coach, all right? So that's some big things with training there. The next thing is that within the actual presentation of your training and your actual session, this is very important in my opinion. This is very important, is that your coach should be able to tell you exactly why. So when you go up to an exercise selection, they're laying it out. They should be explaining the criteria that they're looking for here, just giving you enough to where you know how you're conducting yourself. All right, if you have a newbie, you may have to talk more. If you have somebody you've had a long time, you may have to say only a few things. But they're giving you a purpose. So every single move in the gym should have a why. And why is it like that? Because those matter, like, to keep you focused in the session. You need to be physically and mentally engaged all the time. So if you're just going through the motions, and initially, like, that stimulus is going to be enough. Hey, I'm working out. This is cool. I'm doing something. But those movements, if they don't have purpose, eventually it's going to get boring. If you need to have a deeper meaning on these things. So your coach should be giving you a why. Like, why am I coming in here? How's this going to benefit me? Then coming from here and going to there, how's this benefiting me? And then as far as like conducting myself with the whole workout, why did we do it in this order? And what's it for? What's the short and long-term scheme of this? Like, there has to be a bigger meaning. There has to be a microscopic meaning, and there has to be a giant, cosmic meaning to it, right? So it's no different than a short-term and long-term goal. They should be giving you the short-term and long-term why of the session, the week, the month, and the year, because your goal is the ultimate thing in this deadline. It's like, we're doing this thing here on this continuum to get you here, and this is why we're doing this here, so that this, and this line up, if that makes sense, okay? So that's what a coach is going to do. They have all these things kind of pre-made along the way so that you stay focused and engaged the whole time. All right, I have one more that's really important. There's a huge list that we can add to this. I mean, I can go on all day, but I have one more that's super important. A coach is not going to be afraid at any point in time to, number one, say what their niche is, and number two, if you ask a question, say, I don't know. So you know you have a really good coach if they're not so inside of themselves, if they don't have such a big ego that they can say, you know what, Sally, like, that's a great question. I don't know, but let me ask somebody that I know would be able to answer that better, and I'm going to get back to you, okay? That's one of the best lessons that I got early in my career by being around great mentors is like, number one, find what you're really passionate about and just be really good at that. So for me, you know, easily identifying, like making the most of the training experience as far as how that person conducts himself and is efficient in the short time that we have is that's my main motivation. That's the main thing that I'm good at. You know, the internal medicine and the supplementation and nutrition and training periodization. Like, I'm never going to be a master at that. And I'm always not afraid to say, like, well, here's kind of my opinion on this, but I'm not saying it's, you know, I'm not saying it's the gospel. I'm not saying it's true or false. I'm just saying, like, you might be able to get a better answer from this person, or I learned this from this person. Like, that person gives credit where credit is due, okay? And they're also afraid to say, like, I'm not an expert in that, so I don't want to give you bad advice, but I'll ask somewhere else, or I'll put you and lead you in that direction. So really don't forget the value of a coach that knows where they're strong at and knows where they're weak at. Because what that does is that shows you that they're human just like you. They have integrity to you, and they're being honest with you. And that's the biggest thing. Like, if there isn't a trust between you and your coach, the potential for progress, the potential for you guys being able to have this awesome journey together, it's going to be limited, because it's going to come down to you, you know, going like, should I trust this guy's word? Is he really invested in me like he says? You know, it's just like, this is no different than a relationship. Like, you guys have to be on the same page all the time, okay? So this is just a couple things that I thought would be really, really valuable to you guys. If you guys have more, feel free to comment in here. I have no issue with that, okay? There are more things that are important, definitely, with a coach. And I'm not saying that the things that I said are absolutely the only thing that matters. I'm just saying, like, over the years that I've worked with people, being around other really awesome coaches, you know, I've had the great luxury of having good mentors and good trainers that I'm around. These are the trends that I'm seeing, is like, there's a big difference between a trainer that's just going to kick your butt in the gym and leave you crawling out, and a coach that's going to absolutely transform not just your physique, but your whole stinking life. And ultimately, like, I hope that's what all you guys are getting in to the gym for. I hope that's what you're hiring a coach for. And just look for those things next time you go to hire a coach. And if you already have a coach, like, go through that checklist and just make sure that they're meeting that criteria. Because I want you guys to get the most out of your investment, and I want you guys to have the goals that you want to have in the time that you want to have, okay? So I hope this video helps. Really enjoyed talking to you guys. And if you guys have other suggestions for topics, anything related to exercise, okay, anything related to, you know, execution, training, things of that nature you guys want me to talk about, want to give my opinion on, please feel free to ask, make suggestions, put them in the comments. But until next time, guys, we'll chat soon.